everybody. Welcome to InPsightRadio. I am your host, Danielle Egnew, and you are a fly on the wall to everywhere. Happy holiday season. I hope each and every one of you are really embracing the spirit of peace for everything that spirit is trying to bring you. And, you know, it's so funny. I was talking to some friends. I have some friends who absolutely love the holidays. And then I have friends who think the holidays are ridiculous and they're a waste of time and they're a waste of money. And it's, you know, it's this whole big thing. So I think that's fabulous. But anyway, I hope you're really embracing the spirit of peace to bring transformation and elevation to your life. I really do. And one of the things that I really want to get into today, because this is a part one podcast, is really when we look at the weight that is in the world right now. 2019 was a really heavy transitional year for a lot of people. And that transitional year is big. I mean, what we've learned in 2019 is massive as we go into 2020. And what's fascinating here is going into 2020, we are literally being shown how to evolve because 2020 is the year of evolution. And in the year of evolution, we're being asked to give away things that don't work. And obviously, I mean, if you think about it, when we evolve to the next phase of what we are. And as we move into that next phase of what we are, then that which does not work dies off and everything that is working turns into something new and awesome. So if we've had behaviors in the past that have not borne well, desperation, pushing, fear, whatever, then these are literally the things that we are being asked to evolve out of as we move forward into 2020's year of evolution. And before we can even really get the grasp on the gravity and transcendent, unbelievable, earth-shattering way of looking at 2020's year of evolution, it's important we go back a few years. Now, if you're wondering where I get these titles, like the year of evolution, where does that come from? About October of every year, I am given the energy signature under which the next year will be exacting itself. And this year was really interesting because as evolution was coming in, the word evolution and all the information about the year of evolution was coming in through the ethers. The other thing that I was receiving at that same time was this incredible ability to understand that the word evolution, it kept kind of shorting in and out, for the year of repurposing or the year of deliverance. And repurposing came up and then deliverance came up also. And I'm getting this repurposing feeling way back in September, October, and I'm like, repurposing? But that means that the entire year is operating under that directive. So everything that happens to you, to the nation, to the world, to everything is under the energy signature of that directive. So let me go back a bit. 2012 was the year of transcendence. Okay, so think about that. Think about transcending operating systems in 2012. And of course, December 21st of 2012 was thought to be the Mayan end of the world, even though it was kind of the Mayan New Year. Yet the Mayan calendar said it was the end of everything. Well, actually, it was the end of the divine masculine time frame and the beginning of the feminine time frame. All right, so it made sense that 2012 is the year of transcendence. We were moving from one energy in 100,000 year energy cycle to the next 100,000 year energy cycle. So we were moving from the masculine, the divine masculine, into the divine feminine. We were transitioning, okay? We were transcending from one type of energy to another type of energy. So 2012, year of transcendence, right? Then 2013 was the year of polarization. So think back On your 2013, was there a lot of weirdness? Were there big changes coming out of nowhere? Did something hit you upside the head in a way that you weren't expecting? I mean, everything was being polarized into groups so that we could move forward in our grouped lessons or our grouped life lessons or our grouped karmic lessons. A lot of relationships fell apart, marriages, businesses. 2013 was a year for many people where things dissolved and were easy to see for what they were. It was kind of a black and white year, so to speak. So the year of polarization, of course, was 2013. And 2014 was the year of illumination. So everybody came out of these horrible, big, heavy lessons in general in 2013 and was like, wait a minute, I see the point of this. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. I see where my strengths are. So people started enacting their strengths. So think about this. We come out of the feminine time frame the masculine time frame in 2012. We go into the feminine time frame. We get into these groups where we are breaking everything down to understand how we're going to work in the feminine time frame while we're in the year of polarization 213. 214, we go into illumination. Okay, now I get how it works. Now I'm going to put myself to work in it. 2015 was the year of reconciliation. So not only were we actually looking at everything that we had come to play up to our life in that moment, but think about 2015. That's about making right with people. It's about getting your taxes paid. It's about making right across the board. The year of reconciliation was about coming to grips with everything that came forward during the year of illumination. Then 2016 was the year of reclamation. The year of reclamation. And what was fascinating about that is look how we saw all of the big presidential candidates coming out in America and Bernie versus Hillary in the primary and then Hillary versus Trump and then Trump got moved through and then we see election interference and all these things. And I mean, it just got crazy. And reclamation, if you think about it, 2016 really kicked off the arena in which we are standing in energetically right now to the year of evolution. 2016, we had to reclaim that which we thought was democracy, ways of being, dignity, and obviously people have been blowing up and being insane since 2016. Yet think about it. We had to go through a very catastrophic action to be able to reclaim what's important to us, okay? Then we move up to 2017, which was the year of actualization. So here we get a brand new president in. Some people believe he was elected. Some people believe he was appointed. There's a lot of shenanigans. We still don't know the depth that we do now, that something happened with an outside influence in the election. However, it was never about the president. It was actually about the United States people, at least in our country. Of course, these energies are hitting the world, everybody. Okay. So in 2017, the year of actualization was all about we Americans coming forward and getting out of the savior behavior, getting out of, the president will save us, or somebody big and happy and amazing like a business magnet will save us. It was about actualizing ourselves in our communities and coming together to bring the change that we wanted to see happen. Because obviously people started fighting and oh my God, 2017, I wouldn't redo, I'll tell you. Then 2018 was the year of transformation. So what we're looking at is all the actualization that we started going through. So maybe I didn't get the president I wanted, or some people are saying, yay, I got the president I wanted. So some people are working in their communities feeling great about it. And some people are waiting to transform and move to the next level in what they need to do. And in the transformation year of 2018, we started taking all the actualization lessons about, hey, some people are resisting. Some people are blowing up in white supremacy. Some people are just happy the stock market is doing better. I mean, everybody is transforming into the next phase of what the actualization brought them to. So we are trying to develop in 2018 a world, at least in the United States, that reflects what the work that we put in 2017, really launched. So again, we were seeing white supremacists marching. We were seeing resist groups throwing down protests. People were putting into action that which they actualized in 2017 In 2018, it was the year of transformation. So we were transforming everything about ourselves also. Because remember, back in 2012, it was 2012 transcendence, 2013 polarization, 2014 illumination, 2015 reconciliation, 2016 reclamation, 2017 actualization, 2018 transformation, and 2019 was the year of reconstruction. And we're still in 2019 right now. So, as we are in 2019, I want you to think about your year. I want you to think about the reconstructive aspects of your year. How many of you had something completely crumble this year that you had to rebuild? And maybe it was torn down multiple times that you had to rebuild. Or how many of you have been working on something for a very, very long time, and finally you retooled it, and all of a sudden it's catching success? I can speak in terms of Road Angel for me. And really, we've been shooting Road Angel. We've been working on Road Angel for a couple of years. And really, it kind of got rolling in December of 2017 in the year of actualization under a different show title. And then it went through a lot of changes in the year of transformation. And in 2019, it really went through a lot of changes in the year of reconstruction. And that's when we started filming. So if you think about aspects of your own life and how these energetic overlays have set upon your years, then you'll understand a little more about the fact that we now in 2020, the year of evolution, now you're understanding more about why we've come to pass the way that we have. Okay, so let's look at those years. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is almost a decade cycle, okay? From the transmissions that I have been receiving for 9 years in what we have been calling, at least me and these angels, have been calling our ascendance cycle, okay? This is literally the last year in a 9-year ascendance cycle. And we're starting a new decade in 2020. And also in 2020, think about the year 2020, crystal clear vision. We are seeing things for how they really are. We're seeing people for how they are. We're seeing our own bull crap for how it is. We are not sugarcoating anything this year. It's not about that. It's about having, with all of this energetic preparation over the 9 years, having transcended, having polarized to look at and aggregated, to look at our focus and our purpose in this life, having illuminated those purposes, having come to terms and reconciliation with everything that holds us back or what's been in our way, having come and forward and reclaiming that life path that was part of what we meant to do, our life path, our life purpose that we put on the shelf maybe in 2011, and then actualizing that life path, and then transforming that life path, and then maybe the transformation needed a facelift. Maybe you tried to build a house on a lot that needed different plumbing, so you had to reconstruct it again now that you've got everything in place, and now it's time to evolve. You got all that? So for me, I've been hanging in there with this ascendance cycle for 9 years. And this is the 9th year. And 9 is completion. It is completion. It is coming upwards of holding the bubble between the lines and really bringing forward the fruits of all the lessons that we've been learning. So 2020's year of evolution is gonna be huge. So that's why this is part 1 of this. And the next podcast is going to be part 2 of the year of evolution, because we'll never get it in the remaining 45 minutes, the whole year. It's not going to happen. So what I want to start with, and this is what I recently did a live forum in Billings, Montana at Barjan's Books over, was my annual year-end forum. And this is a recap of that year-end forum. And I'm having my angels help me with this, and the angel who walks with the world, to recap this information for everybody, because it's certainly not something I'm writing down. I'm in an active channeling cycle during all that. So, writing things down gets to be kind of crampy. So what I would tell you is that in 2020's year of evolution, the name of the game is going to be giving away modalities that literally no longer serve us. And for some people in 2020, it's going to look like the end of the world. We're seeing this right now. A perfect example of this is the impeachment proceedings that are happening right now. In Montana, we've got a very wide palette of political beliefs. We've got very, very conservative people, and we've got very, very non-conservative, very liberal people out here. Yet there's sort of an underlying credo in Montana that says, hey, let's just let everybody live their life. And as long as you're being a decent person and not stealing and not victimizing and not being a jerk or a terrible neighbor, and let's just get along and make a better world. And of course, there's exceptions to that in Montana, like there are anywhere. Yet in 2020's year of evolution, I've got folks sitting in my live forum of all different political persuasions. And the very first message that came through was we are really going to have to give away big parts of our identity in order to evolve. And that threatens the crap out of people. Now, I'm going to pick on politics for this because it's a very low-hanging fruit, and it's a really easy tool for, through which to sculpt an analogy for what they're talking about here. Now, I'm obviously speaking in terms, in analogies, political analogies, with situations that are happening here in the United States. Yet if you look all over the world, craziness is erupting everywhere. We've got really crazy authoritarian oddness happening in the UK, yet the whole world is feeling this evolution process. So in certain ways, certain operating systems are going to be just lashing out, trying to grapple with holding on to the life cycle that they've had up to this point, because nothing wants to die out. And in evolution, if you don't evolve, you die. Right? So there are old world energies right now, and I talk about a lot of these different types of principles on this podcast and in my work, is that everything has a life force and it wants to stay alive. So what we're seeing right now are old, outmoded ways of control and authoritarian behavior and racism, fear, just craziness, polarization, identity politics, rearing its head all over the world. And that's just not working for people anymore because we're in the year of evolution. All right. So that's an actual thing, gang. So here in the United States, if we look at the year of evolution, we are literally going to be asked to give away, to evolve past our identities that we've put in place at this time. And why are we being asked to do that in the number 9 cycle of the ascendant cycle, in the completion cycle? Well, we can't evolve if we are not going to change our idea of ourself. So this really gets, this actually kind of, I'm going to be speaking quite plainly in these 2 podcasts because otherwise we'll be here forever. If I'm trying to cut corners. The point is, a lot of people are going to get really offended and really pissed off and afraid at the idea of giving up parts of their outward brand identity. We're not going to make it through into this new realm or new world or this evolved world by hanging on to, I am a liberal, I am a conservative. You can be a person who has liberal beliefs. You can be a person who has conservative beliefs. Yet being a person first is absolutely the name of the game in 2020's year of evolution. And we kind of don't know how to do that in America. I mean, let's get real ugly and gritty for just a second, because 2020's year of evolution demands that we give away our pretenses that we had about ourselves in lieu of truly embracing our more complex and nuanced pieces of ourselves. So it's time we stop becoming the bumper stickers that our consumerist America have asked us to place on ourselves. I'm a gun-toting, God-loving Republican. Bumper stickers. I'm a tree-hugging, hummus-eating liberal. bumper stickers. Let's get rid of all that, because it's important that we're people first. Our ideologies fall behind our actions, says the angel who walks with the world here. So 2020 is going to really challenge every single one of us to not forget about who we are, to not flush who we are down the toilet, to not flush our beliefs down the toilet and what we hold dear down the toilet, to not flush our life calling down the toilet, but to come out of the time frame of living as the bumper sticker. Because pushing an individualized brand in 2020, in the year of evolution, is simply going to fail. Now, how do we know that? Well, we're seeing it come to a crashing halt. The low-hanging fruit, the example is in our impeachment proceedings right now. We've got a United States president, or this person occupying the presidency right now, and a lot of people voted for him, yet he is there because of help from an outside government. And he's also there because we as the United States needed to learn a big lesson about believing everything you see online. That was on us. That wasn't on Russia or China. They were kind of both pitching in there. So what we get the opportunity to do is evolve past the bumper stickers. And that includes getting sucked into ideologies, fear-based stuff, fake news. Oh my God. And what is interesting is people are going to be very threatened by this evolution. Now, I'm talking politics because if you look at how it's very obvious that we have a sitting president who has broken the law on numerous accounts, who has been very stubborn about not adhering to the other rules that other presidential candidates have adhered to. And then we see a whole GOP as a whole. Now, there are individuals who are not agreeing with this, but that whole GOP is coming together in this groupthink mentality of protect our brand, protect our brand. And what are we talking about in the year of evolution? We're talking about the fact that if you protect the brand over the principle, it's going to dissolve. Because the time frame for consumerism that drives identity in America is over. And this is why we're seeing fringy lefties and fringy righties freaking out to try to polarize people into camps so that we can continue to wear the bumper stickers, because quite frankly, that's how they make money. Okay? If I become a person first, and, when I obviously don't get mailers from the RNC, I get them from the DNC, and periodically I get weird ones from the RNC, which I think I'm just accidentally on somebody's list, which is funny. But the DCCC and the DNC's mailers have all been, especially since 2016, have all been really angry and really bullying, actually. And they're screaming at people to, the Republicans are ruining everything. And please take our survey. Take our survey and decide, we really are interested in your input. But it's not a survey. They're these stupid fourth grade leading questions. And I'm sorry, if anybody works for the DNC or the CCCC, I am happy to come volunteer my time in messaging for you guys to help you with the new world outreach. Heck, if you're part of the RNC or whatever they are over there, I am happy to donate my time to you as well, okay? To work on proper messaging for the year of evolution, because these weird quizzes that came out from the Democratic side, that with these really shallow leading questions, do you believe Democrats can lead us to a better America? Yes or no? Do you want to support Democrats in this upcoming election? Yes or no? I mean, that's not a survey. It's garbage, because they don't care. They don't care what you think. Neither political franchise cares what you think. That's why it's important to evolve past that so we can go back to governing for the people by the people, not for the franchise by the fundraising deadline, okay? Now, I use politics as a hot button because it just makes people so mad when they hear me say things like, wow, the DNC's after your money, because they're like, you realize you're going to help Trump get reelected? No, I'm not. No, I'm not. First of all, I'm not that powerful. Secondly, if we don't start seeing our political franchises, especially those of us who participate in them, and I participate a lot in politics, if we don't start fixing them at the base level, then we can't fix what that energy is feeding. Okay. So again, I'm using this as an example in evolution. So when we go into the year of evolution, then we've got the GOP over here who are buying hook, line, and sinker. The president didn't do anything. It's fake news. None of this is happening. And they're digging in so hard that when I got a freak mailer from the RNC, and it literally said, socialist Democrats are attempting to overthrow our Constitution and imprison an innocent man. I mean, it was the biggest crock of crap I have ever read. And I actually burst out laughing. Just in the middle of my empty living room, I started laughing and I thought, oh my God, fear, fear, fear. And here's the DNC and the DCCC over here going, this rogue president is going to ruin the United States of America if you don't donate $20 now. And then you got the RNC. These socialist Democrats are tearing our country apart at the very seam of our Constitution. And if you don't donate $20, we are going to lose our American way of life. And I'm cracking up because it's all such bullcrap. And I'm cracking up because none of that energy is going to make it through the year of evolution anyway. And really, I was looking at the statistics of both the DNC and the RNC the other day, and the RNC rolls, they're a little nervous because a lot of just generation-long Republicans are registering as independents right now because they don't believe in being a Democrat, but they sure as hell don't recognize the GOP. So they're registering as independents. Then the DNC is losing all kinds of people who on the progressive end, who got very upset with the corporate way that they work. They're still mad about Bernie. They're still mad about all these things, and they're mad about the corporate moderateness or whatever. And they're registering as independents. So we're seeing a really interesting shift in power, and that's part of the year of evolution, is that if we are unwilling to peel the bumper stickers off of the front of us in order to be people first, to come in and make decisions about governance, community, relationship, business decisions, any of it, then it's going to die off in 2020 because it leads us to the next piece of the puzzle, which is people are tired of fighting. The whole world is tired of fighting. And in America, in 2020, in the year of evolution, we're sick of fighting. We're sick of it. You know, there's some fringy folks on either side that like to fight. There are humans that are struggling with their own pain and they want to fight. Yet we are done fighting and we just want to move on. And what we're seeing fail in America right now is the same type of authoritarian takeover that works in other countries who have had the opportunity to have more demoralized populations over time, like Russia. You know, Russia was communist, Soviet Union, pretty oppressed for a long time. And Putin was, head of the KGB, if I'm not mistaken, or high-ranking in the KGB. I think he was the head of the KGB. So he came from that old world system of oppression. So he knows how to demoralize and oppress people. Yet that country over there has been depressed and oppressed and smushed for a long time. And I'm not saying that from a propaganda standpoint. I'm saying that because I have very dear friends who are from Russia. And they came here before this all blew out, and they don't have very nice things to say about living in Russia. And it's more about just how the government keeps people oppressed. And I'm sure there's Russians that love being Russian and love their country too. Obviously, they're staying in Russia. They wouldn't, immigrate to the United States. So what's fascinating here is the same totalitarian or authoritative tactics that break down the will of the people in regimes where the will of the people has been broken down for a long time, like Russia and China. China has also been noodling around with fake news, and it's not just Russia. But both of those governments have a base of people who are used to being smushed, and they're kind of easier to smush in a way just because people are so used to it. And they're like, oh, whatever. This is just the way life is. Well, then you get over here to the United States. And we may argue with one another. We may get really mad. We may think we're idiots. We may do whatever with one another. But at the end of it, we kind of get bored with it and we just want to go back to getting along and having a beer by the river and going to a baseball game. And we just want to get back to life as we know it. And we don't know that authoritarian structure. And yeah, we have tons of problems in the USA. Racism, homophobia, transphobia. My God, we've got racial inequality. We've got socioeconomic inequality. We got so many problems over here we got to fix. However, we don't operate under an authoritarian regime very well. So the same playbook that old Putin and some of the Chinese operatives tried to lay down here in order to demoralize, divide, and cause chaos worked initially. Yet in 2020's year of evolution, people are over it. They're moving on. Now we've got the trick. We're sick of it. The little kid came out of the closet and said, "Boo!" and scared us all, and it was terrifying. Yet this is just not the way that it's going to go in 2020. So I'm telling everybody this because if we have an issue with letting go and opening our minds for a better system that involves everyone's input, if we have a problem with that, that old polarization is going to cause deaths. Not literal, well, sometimes literal deaths, but also I'm seeing deaths in ways that we handle certain things in our life. And so 2020's year of evolution is going to have a lot of what seems like sudden stops, death throes. If people are not going with the flow, and you can go ahead and have political beliefs that are conservative or political beliefs that are liberal or whatever, which I don't even think those terms apply in the new world anymore. They really don't, Have whatever political belief you want, yet it's not the year for bumper stickers. And now think about the complexity of this. 2020 is an election year. Okay. So think about the complexity we're going to see when polarization and bumper stickers does not pay off. Any politician out there right now saying, "I am the answer. I am your savior. I am the one to look at," in any part of the world, is going to fail. It's going to fail because the energies don't support it. All right. So the year of evolution is about giving away our bumper sticker ideologies. And this is going to challenge all of us because in America, we've been trained to be a brand and we've been trained to spend our money with that brand. And we've been trained that that brand is our identity. And when you really realize how much we as individuals, at least in the United States, and maybe this is this way in other parts of the world, but if we really look at in the United States, how we have co-created a manipulation process of not only our life path, but we've co-created a manipulation process of our own identity here. We've allowed ourselves that. It's time to evolve from that. Now, where this gets sticky is, of course, as people, part of how we identify our role in the world is by the actions we take in the world, right? So as we're taking action in the world, we are also seeing who we are by how those actions affect other people. Okay? So in 2020's year of evolution, we are going to watch massive changes in our political system. And we are going to watch some violence erupt here and there, people. There are going to be people in this country who really believe with their whole heart that Donald Trump is an innocent man and Rudy Giuliani is innocent and Mitch McConnell's innocent and Greta Thunberg is a child who's being manipulated to incite riots and division. There is so much crazy belief out there that there will be some people who are now so whipped up on that they're going to take action. It's not a civil war, but just violence. I mean, we've been seeing the violence erupt with these are people who consider themselves to be people who are followers of a more conservative way of life, white males shooting up places because they don't like the immigrants coming in over the border. But we're not talking about that. We're just talking about the immigrants. I mean, the denial that we have been laboring under in 2019's year of reconstruction, as we've been, think about reconstruction, okay? What do? Reconstruction isn't raising. It's not raising a building. It's not dropping it into a hole and starting from the top. Reconstruction is where you take a crowbar and you pull sheetrock off of the walls and you get down to the studs and you find the faulty wiring and you take the time to cross the T's and dot the structural I's. That is reconstruction. Okay? And that is the year we've just come out of. We're about ready to leave it. The year of reconstruction. So we're just tearing all those studs down. And that's what we're seeing with the impeachment proceedings. We're seeing this in people's lives, with people having jobs that they've had forever and trying to return back to jobs, and it's not clicking. It's not working. So what we're looking at here is an opportunity in the year of evolution to make some peace with growing, because that which doesn't evolve dies. And the earth is evolving, gang. You know, when I look forward so we've got to give away, we don't have to, but it's recommended that in the year of evolution, we give away our bumper sticker stuff in our life and grow and learn some stuff about other things that you normally wouldn't look at. And nobody's asking anyone in 2020 to give away who they are or what they believe in. It will be necessary to augment all of our systems in order to proceed forward. We have got to have an OS upgrade because the old world is not going to be carried on in 2020. It's just not. It's the year of evolution. That's why this is the 9 cycle. The completion of the ascendant cycle is the year of evolution, is 2020, is seeing things clearly. So in terms of our planet, man, our planet is going to be, obviously we've got weird weather, we've got weird things going on, yet in our planetary affects that we're going to experience, you know, this is more flooding. You know, I've been talking about water issues for a long time, clean water issues since basically 2016-17, and how in 19 and 20, we were going to see water tables directly affected negatively, and having those water tables not only affect us as people, but affect us as society. Because what's going to be happening in 2020 is, you know, we've been fracking like crazy, and then we take all of these fracking chemicals and we don't just dump them in a river because they're really toxic. So we take the fracking chemicals that come up and we pump them back down into the ground, into what are termed as brackish underwater aquifers. Now, this is water 10, 12,000 feet down that we as human beings consider to be sour or too alkaline or too acidic, and we don't drink it. So, of course, because we don't use it, we just consider it to be, you know, junk water down there. And for our best science, we believe that the junk water doesn't really mix with the clean water, because this is what we like to believe, right? So we're pumping all of this fracking, and we have been for years and years and years and years and years. We're pumping dirty chemicals down into the ground, into deep underground water reservoirs that, to our sort of kind of best guess, don't really interact with other water sources, or so we think. You gotta love that. What we're going to see in 2020, gang, because of the ice melts, you know, the Greenland ice melt is pouring water into the ocean, and the Antarctic ice melt is pouring water into the ocean. Now, what happens? Let's do a little science for everybody right now. What happens when you take a lot of weight and distribute it over a wide surface? Well, what's going to happen is the surface is going to shift. It's going to bear the weight. So as we are putting millions of gallons, okay, not hundreds of thousands, not thousands, The Earth right now is dumping millions of gallons of fresh water at a breakneck pace into the oceans. So the ocean levels are rising all over the world. That is more cubic weight, fluid weight, all over the Earth. And when you have that pressure, the plates kind of, they just tick and pop and settle just like a floor. If you have an old home, we have a home that was built in, the very late 20s. And when you walk on the wood floors, they creak because the floor is bearing weight in different ways and the screws have become loose over the years. So what we're looking at is the plates shifting in 2020. So that is exaggerated big volcanic movement. And it's also big movement of underground water resources, okay? Because when those plates are shifting and they're ticking and popping and moving and jigging and going sideways and, things are moving around a little bit, when all of this is happening, then what you have an opportunity to do is watch underground aquifers mix and watch fissures in rock become open. So now we've got years and 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 years worth of toxic fracking water way under the earth, cracking and linking through the rocks and getting into our clean water. And we may not see the effects of that right at the top of 2020 because we've got to get those plates to move first. But there are underground microquakes that are happening all the time, not only because of fracking, because remember, fracking shoots water and chemicals between the cracks in the rocks to get the oil out of it. And then there's just nothing in there. And they say groundwater fills it, but groundwater is not the same density as oil, people. So, there's so much to this that the engineers in oil will tell you that this discussion I'm having with you is completely improbable. It's totally safe. And what I'm talking about defies science. Well, it actually doesn't defy science because different materials have different densities, which occupy different stresses in the ground. So what we're going to be looking at is a lot of plate movement. And I don't necessarily mean, oh my God, here's a huge earthquake at California, we're all dead. I'm talking just these little microquakes under the ground because of the distributed weight of the fresh water that's now melted into the oceans. Okay, so we're going to be running into the water problems, the fresh water problems that I was talking about in 2017. And if you go back on YouTube, 17 and 18, man, I was talking about 19 and 20 being big years for water contamination. And 2019 is where they started to really cover. There was a lot of coverage in 2019 about how the Nestle Corporation was purchasing aquifers on Native American reservations and just draining them dry. And they were buying the water rights under the ground. So they were somehow getting around the Native people saying, no, I don't want you to drain this, buying it anyway and draining it. So the powers that be, okay, the consumerist sociopathic monster that exists only to feed itself in America, they know all this is coming. It's coming on with a vengeance. It's coming on like a house of fire. And so they're stocking up on the water. So we're going to see water issues in 2020 to 2025. This is really the kickoff on water issues that we're not expecting to have happen because don't you know, all those underground aquifers, we don't drink that water, so it doesn't matter that it's 20,000 feet down. Not literally 20,000, but it's way down there. We are going to reap the fruits of our hubris, our avarice, and our ignorance with the loss of clean water as those plates microshift and mix that brackish fracking water with our clean water. Now, we're also going to watch news cycles that don't want to admit that's what's going on for the longest time, except it's 2020, the year of evolution, seeing things clearly. So we're going to start seeing where corporate, especially in America, corporate America has been poisoning us for a very long time, not only with weird messages that we have decided to participate with in identity and branding ourselves. And quite frankly, that's on us, you guys. People, that's on us. I'm not blaming corporate America for trying to sell stuff in the consumerist countries. I'm really drawing attention to the fact that we bought into it because it was an easy fix for a low self-esteem. Hey, if I wear these tennis shoes, I feel good about myself. If I drive this car, I feel good about myself. That's on me if I believe that. That's not on that manufacturer that's trying to make me feel great about buying their product. That's on me that I gave that product so much power, okay? And that's part of what the year of evolution is going to be for us, gang. It's going to be about seeing why we've done things the way we've done them and making changes. So for some, this is going to seem like the end of the world as we know it. It's going to seem like a cataclysmic freakout. We've got people right now who are claiming that the United States is over as they knew it because we are impeaching a sitting innocent president. Oh my God. Donald Trump's a lot of things, but he is not innocent of the actions he has taken. And as a matter of fact, has anybody really thought of the fact that maybe this very smart guy, he's smart like a fox, okay? This very smart guy figured out that he is being recorded and monitored like crazy because he's the president of the United States. So he sits down on a Ukraine call, makes some, just shady enough requests there that he knows they're going to get followed up on, that he knows is going to push. I mean, think about all the stuff he's been trying to get through this administration. He has pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed our boundaries of acceptance. Trump has. And he finally did something so grievous that the government had to try to impeach him. So think about this. If I'm somebody who doesn't want the job, because Trump never wanted the job, gang, because this is the year of evolution. So it's time we just speak plainly and we look at things clearly. He didn't want the job. He was trying to get a TV show by upping his visibility. Okay? He's trying to get a better TV show and a better TV deal out of NBC. So here comes Trump, gets the presidency, totally shocked he got it from the help of his friend Vlad Putin, who also moved numbers and ballots and all kinds of things in order to get him in there. This is just hilarious to me at this point. So I don't want the job. Say I'm Trump. I don't want the job. I've gone from everybody kissing my butt and having millions of affairs that go undetected and having tons of crappy business deals that take advantage of people and nobody says anything. I am literally living the mobster life high. Okay? I am above the law. Nobody can touch me. I'm Donald Trump. Well, then I become president and everything I do is being scrutinized. I have really thin skin to begin with, and now everybody hates me. Half of the country hates me, and half the other part of the country thinks I'm a savior, but man, the other half of the country hates me. And because I've been so coddled and protected my whole life, that half of the country that hates me is like acid in my eyes every morning. I can't even think straight because I have been so coddled and so protected and lived in my own world and lived with my own rules for such a long time that the fact that this many millions of people hate my guts is devastating. I have zero tools to cope with that at this point, at 70-some years old. So I'm hating this job as president. I hate it. I never wanted it anyway. I've been trying to do stuff to get kicked out so I could play the martyr and say, oh, poor me, I gave up my whole life, but these mean people just kicked me out. All the while saying, thank effing God I'm out of that crap hole, taking my wife and going off and having 9 more affairs. But playing the victim role, he keeps throwing down stuff that no one will unseat him on. So he finally gets smart enough to make a Ukraine call that will trigger an impeachment proceeding. Think about this a minute, okay? Donald Trump is many things, but he is not stupid. And he never wanted the job. So he realizes, okay, if I go into this, I'm going to trigger an impeachment proceeding right before an election year. I'm probably going to get canned. I'll go ahead and quit before then. But I'm going to make it look like I was railroaded out of here so I come out smelling like a rose to my base. That's kind of what's going on. So the Democrats didn't have any choice, or the House. It wasn't just the Democrats. It should have been everybody. And there are some Republicans that are on board in the House that are like, this guy is lawless, man. We got to get him out of here. And so now here we are, because it's the year of evolution. So on a political level, we've got a president who's crazy like a fox, who never wanted the job, who's finally triggered an impeachment investigation to play the martyr, and he's playing it up. He's playing it up. He's going to play it all the way up till he gets the hook at the end, okay? And till it goes to the Senate, and then they're like, oh, no, he's innocent, blah, and this just bats back and forward, all the way into the presidential elections. So this is just bizarre. But the point being is that in the year of evolution, we've got to evolve in order to see things for what they are. And our sense of illusion is being so challenged right now, because when we look at this president, I'm 50 years old, gang, and I have never seen the country react the way they're reacting to a sitting president's misconduct. I was a little kid when Nixon's whole shindig was going down. And I remember people walking around going, I am not a crook. I remember that. And I also remember Nixon, the big deal, at least people talking about Nixon resigning. Even Nixon's supporters, after a certain point, acknowledged he was guilty. And Bill Clinton, oh my God, with the Monica Lewinsky thing, he was impeached. And he fought it. And he said, no, I didn't do this. And he got impeached for, lying, basically, in these proceedings. I didn't sleep with Monica Lewinsky. I didn't do whatever people said I did. Even Bill Clinton's supporters knew he did it. And they were irritated with the fact that he just didn't admit it, because everybody knew he did it. It's like, dude, just admit you did it. Nobody was sitting there going, my God, Nixon is sent by God to save us. Bill Clinton is sent by God to save us. I remember being a lefty who voted for Bill Clinton going, dude, you totally did this. Just admit it and move on. Come on, you're guilty. So I have been fascinated by the spiritual dynamic as we go into the year of evolution of the base that Trump has, who is just unwilling to see what he has done. It blows my mind, the maintaining of his innocence. So I had to get underneath of that as we come into the year of 2020 and the year of evolution. And I had to dig up that energy signature from the roots, because I have now seen 2 presidents impeached and felt the energy of that. And felt the energy of their supporters maybe hanging on till the very last minute, but finally just giving up the ghost and saying, okay, dude, you're guilty. I'm your supporter. I still love you, but you're guilty. Come on. Let's move on. Yet in this time frame, gang, in our year of evolution, I am literally seeing and feeling people who have Trump painted and Giuliani and Putin and the whole thing. They're all innocent and they're patriots and they've done nothing wrong, and they're just being framed by an evil system. What is it? The swamp, the deep state? I don't know. Make up a freak out. But I mean, really, it's phenomenal to me when I look at the energy of denial. And so when I look underneath of that, do you know what I see? Oh my God, I see people out there, gang. I see people who are living in their lives require them living in massive walls of denial. Their lives do. Maybe they've got a horrible marriage, or maybe they've got a horrible situation at work, or their kids hate them, or who even knows what causes a person to lie to themselves so hard to survive. Because, God, who wants to live a crappy life? Gee, my husband beats me, but he really loves me. My mythology I buy is that he's going to be better someday and really love me for who I am, instead of kicking the crap out of me every Friday night when he gets too drunk. So I'm going to buy that lie and make bullying normal. Oh, my husband cheats on me 1,000,000 times a year. But he's a good man underneath, because we go to church on Sundays. So I'm going to buy the lie that that's okay for me. And maybe it is okay for that person. Hey, guess what? You do you. Your rules are you. You put up with whatever you want to put up with. I'm not judging. I'm simply saying that if we're looking at the president and we're looking at all the crap he does and all the passes he gets, I have got to wonder from the people who are giving them these repeated pass, how normalized is the trauma, chaos, lies, and betrayals in your life? How normalized are the betrayals and the bullying in your own life? Or how badly do you really, and I'm just saying the universal you here, I'm saying universal you, but how badly does a person need to live in an illusion and believe someone else's illusion? Because if I call Donald Trump out on his illusions, then I have to look at my own illusions. If he is a liar, then I got to look at my own lies. If he's a cheater, I got to look at my own situation with cheating. If he's a tax evader, then I got to look at my own tax evasion. If he's a bully, then I have to look at the way I treat my family in an emotionally abusive way. And, and I'm not saying that every Trump supporter is this broken person. A lot of people voted for him because he had an R by his name and weren't even thinking about it. And they didn't like Hillary's clothes, or they didn't like her because she didn't smile enough. Or they thought, oh, let's just change it up because I'm bored in America. Let's get in a president that's totally a wild card and see what happens. And I've got really good friends who voted for Trump because of that reason, and they are hating life right now. They're like, yeah, that was probably the worst decision I've ever made in my life. And a lot of them were people who, really either haven't been involved in politics or didn't understand the complexity of the situation to begin with. And because we live in this tabloid bullet point society where we only get the cliff notes, they really weren't looking into the long-lasting ramifications of having somebody who is as coddled and therefore has developed heavy sociopathic tendencies like Donald Trump in the presidency, So in the year of evolution, in the year of 2020, we are asked to be, again, 2020, crystal clear vision. We are being asked to look very clearly at how we buy into our own bullcrap and our own lies, and the world in which we subscribe to, and the world that we're creating because of our own lies in ourselves. I know people on the far, far, far left who truly believe that the country's being taken over by authoritarians, and we need to do something because that literally the Republicans are the problem in our country. And really, there is not a problem in our nation. All of us in this country are like tree roots. And these roots are feeding the one tree trunk. And we we top the tree. We take the first 2 feet off the top of the tree and we say, yay, we got rid of the diseased part of the tree. Look at us go. We got rid of the diseased part of the tree. When in fact, the top of the tree is resulting from what the roots are feeding into the trunk. And we are all the roots. So we have created this Frankenstein's monster that is Washington, D.C. Because all it is the top of the tree, but we grew the thing. We are the roots feeding the nutrients of the tree trunk that push that to the top. And I'm not saying we shouldn't impeach a lawless president. We are going to impeach a lawless president, whether he's removed or not. Whether the Senate decides to move on those articles of impeachment is a different story. But he's basically going to get the hammer and the hook, and we'll see if they actually pull him out or not. That's looking unlikely, unless the Senate absolutely panics and wants to keep their job and votes to ratify those articles of impeachment. However, if we're only looking at whacking off the top of the tree, and we're not looking at, in 2020, how our root system is feeding the dysfunction, we are going to continue to top the tree and grow a little bit and top it and grow a little bit and top it and never take care of the problem. And the point of this 9-year cycle of evolution in our spiritual ascendance, and we're in the 9th year of it right now, the point of 2012 as transcendence, 2013 as polarization, 2014 as illumination, 2015 as reconciliation, 2016 as reclamation, 2017 as actualization, 2018 as transformation, 2019 as reconstruction, and 2020 as evolution. The point of all of it is to be able to let go of that which no longer serves us and to be able to build something far more solid. Because what we have coming in 2021, 22, 23, 24, 25 are some of the most challenging water and food shortages in the United States that we've seen in a very long time, if ever, maybe since the Dust Bowl of the Great Depression. And we were talking about water issues. We were talking about pollution issues. We were talking about all kinds of other issues that we're going to continue following up on in part 2 of this 2020, the Year of Evolution 2-part podcast in what we can look forward to. Because there's a lot here, there's a lot of meat on these bones, and 2020 is not going to be the year for bullet points, bumper stickers, or omitting details. It's going to be the year of dealing with one another with incredible amounts of grace as we all are changing. So this is the end of part 1. I hope you're able to catch part 2 of our podcast here. My name is Danielle Egnew. I come to you every year being downloaded by the angelic realm with what we have to look forward to in the year to come. It assists me in my job and how to deliver messages, and I'm here to share it with you. So everybody, this is a lot to ingest, okay, which is why I broke it into 2 different podcasts. Let this sink in and you focus on how you're going to bring your own evolution forward in 2020 in this upcoming week, okay? Hang in there, and I will see you soon.